I am no man. Oh wait, I am. Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. Today we are reviewing Hulu / Disney's new movie, The Princess. Is it worth your watching? I'll knight you a Ruby Tuesday night. Let's get into it. When a strong-willed princess refuses to wed the cruel psychopath, she is kidnapped and locked in a remote tower of her father's castle. With her vindictive suitor intent on taking her father's throne, the princess must save the kingdom. So when I saw the trailer for this, I thought, ooh, this could be a lot of fun. It looks like they've taken that princess, I don't need to be saved princess, and she's a badass, and she's going to fight her way out to save the kingdom. That's exactly what I want. And that's kind of what you got. It's not like it's doing anything new. Shrek did it many, many, many years ago, thinking how old Shrek is now. Fiona, the ogre or princess, she started the trend, and I'm sure we've had many iterations of that version. But what I liked about the idea of this film was it was kind of like Die Hard or The Raid, like a boss levels where you start at the top of the tower and you work your way down. And that is essentially what works for this film. So I'm going to talk about the positives of the film. And that comes down to the choreography. And Joey King is very believable as the princess who can fight. And mostly they show that through a series of flashbacks, very quick kind of story building moments where you go, okay, I understand why she can fight. So she's believable in those moments when she is fighting. And it's not like she is always winning the fights. She gets beaten up a lot. She gets a lot of cuts and bruises. So that is realistic. And for the most part, they embrace the gore. I would have liked them to have gone a little bit more if they were going to go the cringy gore fest mode and really embrace that kind of genre. I was hoping they were going to do that. They kind of held it back a little bit, but the action choreography with Joey King being taught, you can see that she spent months and months prepping for the role. Those moments are really fun to watch. And then you have the camera work, which is great. It's some of the camera work in here I really want to take across to some other martial art action movies and say, hey, you know, all that prep you did, allow us to see it, because this movie for the most part allows you to see it. The way they put it together, the way they edited that in, you get to see the action in between the slow-mo shots, in between the rolls, in between the wides and fast cuts. It's put together in a way that you think you've seen everything and you've seen it play out, and your brain doesn't say, oh, can you just stop with the fast shaky cam or the quick cuts? I can't see what's going on. For the most part, you go, yeah, I understood that movement, how she got from there to there and killing those guys along the way. Definitely going to have to put believability out the window. You cannot go into this movie applying logic. There's so many times our main protagonist should have died. There's just no ways that she would have survived many encounters. And there are moments where the choreography works, but what the execution of that means is that people die really easy. There's one moment where two bad guys basically run at the hilts of two swords and they fall down backwards, like doing a backflip for no reason. There's some flippy flip nonsense that goes in here where someone like gets touched, you know, gets hit by a sword and then they do a backflip and then die. Like some of that. There's a guy that's walking down 3 stairs and he does a flip over 3 stairs. And I'm like, what are you doing? Walk down the stairs. So there's some nonsense that goes on in this film, but for the most part, the choreography with the camera work and Joey King fighting the stunt guys that are the bad guys that have stormed the castle, and the idea that she's got to go from level to level until you reach the boss level. It's kind of reversed. Normally you go up to reach the boss level. This time it's the other way around. And so she's got to save her mom and dad, her sister. You see the people that have trained her for the most part. Mostly. There's one particular person who is fantastic at her job. I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name, but it was really interesting seeing them together at some of the points. What doesn't work is, I don't know why they've gone for proper gore blimey British bloke bad.
We'll see about that.
But if you're in the UK, you've seen probably Horrible Histories. Now, I love Horrible Histories. Horrible Histories. They're funny for what it is, for teaching kids about history in a fun way. But for some reason, these kind of bad guys are caricatures of like the Horrible History characters. They were just over the top, go blimey, go get her I don't know. It just came across that way, and it's just like, oh.
Bit like Charles I on the chopping block.
Dominic Cooper is amazing in Preacher, but in this one, it just feels like generic bad guy for the sake of being generic bad guy. There wasn't a lot of fleshed out, almost nothing, for the reason why, you won't marry me, so now I'm gonna kill everyone. Like, come on, we need something more than that to go on. And then there's like generic stooge that likes him, but she is evil. She has less of a background story. They spend no time on the bad guys. So really, we're just here to enjoy the ride of her taking on the bad guys in various different action set pieces in different rooms in the tower with different costume designs. So we have her fighting numerous people, from the stunt guys being dressed up in different kind of leathers and swords and different weapons, to the various types of knights you got to fight. And I know a lot of people, like some guys are going to be like, yeah, there's no ways that little girl, the frame of Joey King, can take on a fully, equipped knight, even if she was trained. Okay, yeah, we're doing some major movie magic here. It's, again, you can't go into this thinking logic. You're going to go into this thinking, how many other movies have you seen like this, where one singular person takes on an army? And that's kind of what this is. She's trained. She does get hurt. And there's some moments you're like, yeah, she should have died there. But for the most part, you can go into this, enjoy it for what it's trying to be. The flip side of that, there are moments in the story that just is tedious. It takes too much time to get to the end. I think even an hour and a half was too long for this, because they didn't give time really to any other story plots, events, or moments. They didn't flesh anything out that way. Basically what they wanted is just a series of action moment events, and that, for the most part, because they embrace that, is fun. But it does, by the end, it does get a bit tedious. Really appreciate what Joey King prepped for the movie. I believed her martial arts, but that's all I cared about it. I didn't care, like, really, if anybody died in this film. There was no emotional engagement or attachment. I think really her trainer, there was a moment where somebody gets injured, like her trainer, and that's the only person I cared about. The rest of the family, like, if anybody died, I'd be like, oh, well, that's sad. There's no time given to any backstory. The story is what you see in the trailer. Her escaping, saving the day. Through a series of flashbacks, you understand why she's able to do that. So I'm going to give it 3. I was teetering on the halfway. It's just over, like, middle enjoyment. But the choreography, the costume design, the kind of music that goes with that, the way it's shown, as a one-time watch, it's fun. So 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5, I think, is fair. Let me know your thoughts. Did you think it was awful and generic and doesn't do anything new under the sun? Or did you think it's like a modern version of Shrek almost, with those raid kind of films teetering down and just fun to watch on a one-time movie on a Friday night with some popcorn? That's kind of where I'm sitting with the idea of this film. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long Tuesday.